Franchising is the most misunderstood and most overlooked form of entrepreneurship. We're here to educate you and help you find the entrepreneur within. Franchising is not all about the French fries.
We find that individuals who are exploring business ownership tend to have a lot of misperceptions and misunderstandings about the franchise industry. So what we want to do is help prospective business owners make confident and educated decisions before moving forward or not moving forward with a business. Welcome to Unpredicted Entrepreneur.
Hello and welcome to episode 57 of Unpredicted Entrepreneur. My name is Sarah Wasco and I am joined by my colleague Roxanne Rapsky, and we developed this podcast to bring you information and resources about business ownership and specifically about franchising. And we usually have a guest to share their experiences. We've had a variety of different guests from different backgrounds and different industries, our clients, our franchisors, funding, lending. But today, Roxanne and I we did not invite a guest, and we are going to share with you a little bit about what we have learned over this last week. We at FranNet have 2 conferences a year to visit with our franchise partners and get updates from them. And so we have just returned from our fall meeting, and we wanted to use this opportunity to share with you some of the takeaways from this conference and some of what we learned while visiting with our franchise partners. And we're tired. It's a whirlwind event week. We decided, kind of counting up our conversations, that between the two of us, we probably spoke with around 100 of our franchise partners. So we are filled with new information, and we wanted to share some of that with you today. So I thought we kind of made a summary of kind of our major takeaways, and we're just going to run through that a little bit with you. And kind of the first thing that we noticed that stood out to us was just some of the unique services and unique offerings that our franchise partners are able to provide. So Roxanne, you want to kind of start off with some of that?
Sure, yeah. So the first one, actually, a lot of service-based businesses, the thing that I like about them is they're business to business and business to consumer. So, you've got that residential piece, you've got that commercial piece. And the first one deals with a type of cleaning, but it's not a type of cleaning that we see very often. And along that cleaning line, there's also hazardous waste kind of cleaning or crime scene cleaning. Mm-hmm. What else? Hoarding, those types of situations. So there are some really unique concepts out there where there's not a lot of competition, or if there is competition, it's very, very, very fragmented. So there's a lot of room to kind of come into these industries and for franchises to kind of regulate them and take them to the next level and consolidate them, which is what franchising usually does. It kind of disrupts an industry and then consolidates it. So there's some unique things there. Anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that really comes to mind with those types of services is how recession resistant they are.
Yeah.
I mean, you mentioned biohazard or crime scene. That obviously has to be done. It doesn't matter what the economy is. And, along that line, that particular brand I really thought was just focused on what we said, but then they actually partner with other businesses. So, for example, I was kind of surprised that they partner with pest control companies. And I hadn't really thought about this, but the pest control companies come in and take care of the pests, but they don't take care of what's left behind. So somebody actually has to come in and take care of this. And that was kind of an eye-opener for me that I'd never really thought about. So
I'm glad you didn't get too graphic.
No, I didn't get too graphic. But, that was just a little bit of an aha moment. I asked them, why do you partner with pest control companies? And when they shared that with me, because I just always thought it was more biohazardous type, crime scene related things.
There's even weird cleanup that they have to do in hotel rooms. And, so just, these are things that a lot of people don't want to do. They need to be done. And it's a profitable business because it pays well to do some of these nasty jobs that nobody wants to do.
Yeah,
so.
you can really make money doing things that other people don't want to do. And, I'm sure many of you already are aware that there's franchises that come clean up backyards from dog waste and dog parks and that sort of thing. But those are B2B and B2C as well.
Business to business and business to consumer.
Yes.
For those that don't know what that is.
Clarify that for sure. So another element of kind of unique programs is one of the brands has, and I actually believe there's more than one, but just kind of one spent some time discussing their matchmaker program with us. And what that is you come in as a new franchisee and it's not an official resale at the time. Resale meaning you're buying a business that somebody else has already started operating and is up and running, but they actually go out and seek existing independent businesses that are looking to sell. And then it transitions over into that franchise.
Yeah. So they go out and look for, there's mom and pop, family run types of businesses where they really want out. They're not doing as well, or they're just ready to get out. And this company can actually go out and find these types of companies in your market, and you tell them how much money you want to make. You can come in and say, I want $800,000 in revenue. And for that revenue, you're going to pay 2 times net. So whatever that business is netting. So you could even start there. I need a business that's going to pay me $250,000 a year. Well, you can bet that you're going to pay 2 times those net earnings.
Or more. Sometimes more.
Sometimes it's a little bit more, 2 to 3 times, we'll say. So get you pre-qualified and get you signed up, and they will go out and search for one of these in your territory. So it is very similar to a resale in the sense that you're buying that existing revenue stream, but it's not a resale. So it's more of an acquisition and then converting that business over. But the other cool thing about that is it's already built out. Obviously you're probably going to have to do some cosmetic upgrades and branding, but it's pretty much built out. So your tenant improvements, which can sometimes be very expensive, aren't in that situation.
Yeah. And I was really impressed. They have not had a scenario where they couldn't find one. So you have to be trusting and go in and believe that they're going to find you the right opportunity, but they've had a lot of success with it.
Well, and the other great thing about that is if you're working and you're looking to replace your income, you can continue working until all this is done. Once they've identified that business, the purchase has gone through. So then when you do slide out, everything's ready for you. There's probably going to be a little bit of hair on that transaction and transitioning it over.
Is.
Yeah. But, you can keep working and drawing that income while this is happening. So,
yeah, really cool.
Yeah.
So another really theme that we found was businesses, franchises centered around health and wellness.
Yeah.
It's interesting how that industry has really grown, especially since COVID. So there were some unique opportunities in that category as well.
Yeah, really a lot of newer things are there that a lot of people might not be aware of. These are actually some things that I've been doing for quite a while. Sarah and I are both cancer survivors, and I've done a lot of holistic types of things. So IV therapy, there's a lot of different types of high dose vitamin C for certain things, or just strictly vitamins. I think where we hear about IV therapy is, you go to Vegas and you're drinking too much and you need an IV to, get through the next day or whatever. But that's not where IV therapy starts, even though that might be people's little window into that. So there's a lot of people with chronic illnesses like Lyme disease, or you name it. Actually, the founder of one of these, the light therapy concept that we're talking about, that was founded because her daughter had Lyme disease, and she started doing some research, and the closest place for her to go was like hours away. And her daughter was seeing a benefit from it. She was actually starting to improve. So this mom was like, oh, okay, there's a need for this. We're going to do something about this. So different types of light, like different colors, do different things. Now, obviously, you have to kind of believe in this stuff, right? We understand that not everybody does, but there's some great alternative therapies out there, as well as, we're all aware of the mental health issues and then the med spas.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. We had a guest several episodes back that owns one of the mental health franchises, and they've expanded very quickly. It's done quite well. So when you think about health and wellness, there's just so many different aspects of it to consider, and the industry is really continuing to grow.
Absolutely.
And another element that's starting to really stand out to us is these platform companies. So what they are focusing on is a lot of the factors in a business that sometimes bog people down, whether it's marketing or accounting or HR. And they do that for the franchisee so that the franchisee can really focus on running their business. And so that is also very impressive. Now, the investment might be a little bit more to get in because the franchisor is doing some of those things for the franchisee, but it really can contribute to a quicker ramp up in a lot of situations. And another thing that's also exciting about that path or that concept is that some of these platform companies actually own the marketing company. They own the accounting company rather than partnering with them. So there's more accountability, there's more control, and more symmetry among their brands.
Everybody's on the same page, right? Recruiting as well. They own the recruiting piece.
They do.
And I know we've talked about the platform companies before, but with technology, it just continues to improve and get more succinct over time. And then not only are the platform companies doing this, a lot of the independents are starting to bring this on as well. And I think a lot of this originally started coming into play because of some of the labor issues that, we've heard about, right? So they're trying to take that piece off of the franchisees and help them with that. And not to say that you don't have a say in it, because you do. You're the one that makes the final decision, but they're going out and doing all the hard work to get these people in front of you so that you have a good pool of people to choose from that are qualified. So that's definitely a resounding theme.
Yeah, absolutely. They've really stepped up on that piece because that is a big concern for a lot of people. I know one of the franchise partners told us that through their marketing department, a third of their leads for franchisees are coming from headquarters. And they're also really stepping up support at headquarters. I know one of the numbers that I heard was there was 4.9 for every 4.9 franchisees, there was one employee.
Right. And it's funny because the way they kind of, the analogy they used was think about a classroom. If you think about franchisees as being in a classroom with the franchisor, think of the kids there's 30 kids in a classroom to one teacher. Imagine if there were only 5 children in that classroom to the teacher, how much more one-on-one attention they would get and how much quicker they would learn and be supported, right?
Yep. Another thing that we also learned that was exciting to us is some of these franchise partners really have a give back component as part of their business. One of them gives back 25% to underprivileged children in third world countries. 25% of the profits from the franchisor goes to help underprivileged children, which is really impressive to me.
It is. There are some concepts that also give a percentage of their proceeds to first responders. So there's a lot of, there's a lot of clients that we work with that really do want to do good with their businesses. So for those people that are really looking for that give back piece of it, some of these concepts will really resonate with them. And then on, flipping to a whole other side of this, another element is, a lot of people come to us and they're interested in food, but food can be very complicated. The margins can be very tight. A lot of employees, lots of part-time employees are required, when you do a full-on food business. But we're seeing a lot of fun and simple food, maybe something that kind of is more like a food truck, or maybe you're just doing milkshakes, right? So fun.
Yeah. And my experience with those businesses has been business owners who want to get their family involved. I've had more people lately saying, I want a business where I can teach my kids about business. I want a business where my children can be involved so we can have fun together. And so I think that is kind of another common denominator these days, is people really wanting to be able to give back. And you don't have to have a franchise that gives their proceeds away. You can certainly give back on your own through your own business and your community. I know several of my clients have made donations to different fundraisers and things like that, but it is nice to know that that's the culture of the franchise as well. So kind of that whole piece of it is appealing to people.
Yeah, we actually have clients that we interviewed recently on our podcast that opened an account at a bank. And they're just putting a little bit of money in there.
Yes.
And that account is for people that need their products and services that might not be able to afford it. So they're going to let that account grow, and they'll be able to contribute to helping these folks get those products and services in their homes.
So if you want to hear more about that, you can listen to episode 56. It was just our last podcast that we released. No, I'm wrong. 55. It was episode 55.
Episode 55, yeah.
Yep. So tune in there and you can hear more about that. So moving on, another, thing that stood out to us is like old industries that have been around a long time, not sexy businesses, needs-based businesses, but they're utilizing technology to really be disruptors.
Yep.
In that area. So the one that comes to mind for me was a roofing company. And they are actually able to take the measurements on the roof through satellite. So nobody's crawling around on the roof. Nobody's risking their safety to take those measurements. And then because of this technology, through a lot of these things, they're able to give quotes on the spot and not have to come back and, work up numbers and use extra time to submit a proposal or what have you. So
right. Which helps them win business.
Absolutely.
They're not having to go home and, add up all their measurements and not just with roofing. There's technology inside the home as well. Think window coverings, flooring, where all the measuring is done with lasers. They've got their iPad right there, or, if it's not an Apple, they've got something similar. They're sitting down with that customer and giving them an estimate right then and there at their home.
And they can also show visually what it would look like with that change. Like with this type of flooring, this is what your house is going to look like. I know one of the garage improvements was able to just swipe and, pick different choices with flooring or paint or what have you, and then swipe cabinets.
Storage.
And there's a picture of your garage the way it looks now, and then they input that information and they swipe, and they'll show you exactly what it would look like with those changes.
Which really helps you win business, because, if you've got somebody in to fix up your garage, you don't like it and you want to like it, you want to love it, right? So to be able to visually see that is very impressive, and it really does help them close their sales that way.
Absolutely.
Or get those clients.
And that's generally something that an independent business owner might not be able to offer. They might, but there's a lot involved to get to that technology, probably a big investment. And so the franchisors are able to kind of take that on for the franchisees rather than them having to figure that out themselves.
Which makes it more affordable for the franchisees, which makes them be able to be more competitive in their market. So along with old with new, window washing. That's not sexy. That's not exciting, right? Window washing. But they can go up to 6 stories with no ladder because of the way their poles are. They can run the water through the pole. And the other cool thing that I liked about that is because everything's filtered and self-contained in the van, they can also dump that water anywhere because it's completely clean water and it's not tarnishing anything going into.
It's filtered water, and it's not even the water of the homeowner. So they actually are using poles from the top of the residence or office and washing from the top down. So again, you don't have people risking safety on ladders. And I was really intrigued by that technology.
I
for
think
sure.
they said the van held 250 gallons of water, so it was enough to get you through your day's work without having to refill.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was just water. So there's no soap or any chemicals going into your bushes or landscaping either.
Right. All right.
Yeah.
More old but new. We've got hair cutting, right?
Yep.
Technology where you can sit down in, you've got your high-end salons and then you've got the lower end, like, your Supercuts or your Great Clips, but there's kind of like a middle of the road in there. And the cool thing about this business is they have a color machine that can actually match your color on your hair, even if you go to them the first time, and specifically for your hair, mix the exact right color so that a stylist can color your hair, or if you want a new color, they can, use all this technology to mix it so that it looks like you want it to on your hair.
I know. So there's no surprises on what that new color.
No more orange hair.
No more orange hair, because you get to see it prior to them mixing it up and applying it to your hair. So we also thought that was very intriguing. Another old something that everybody needs, we all need this, is a mattress. And I call this particular business the Build-A-Bear of mattresses. And I know that many people would say, oh, there's so many mattress companies, right?
It's saturated.
It's saturated. We hear that all the time. But this is a disruptor because it is completely customizable. So if any of you remember Build-A-Bear, you took your children, they made their own little teddy bear with their own stuffing in it. This is customized. And if there are two people sleeping on the same mattress, they can make one half different than the other half. And it has a lifelong guarantee. So over time, if you need to enhance it or modify it, they will come out and do that for you.
Yep. And because the manufacturing is done, this is kind of what they call a hub and spoke model. So usually if you're joining this franchise, you're buying 2 to 3. It's usually a 3-pack that they're doing, 3 units. But your first one is what they call your hub and spoke, and that's where your manufacturing is, where you're making you're building the bears, you're making the mattresses, and then your other 2 locations have a much smaller footprint, and they're more of just a retail presence, and all the manufacturing is done from that first location. But it's just like making a sandwich and can be done in like 15 minutes. Or it's kind of crazy, but yeah, I love that they'll come out to your home and adjust it, and
it's it's a lower priced mattress because you cut out the middleman and the manufacturing is done there. So surprisingly, you can get this completely customizable mattress for significantly lower than what you might buy a mattress elsewhere. So that also is really unique and impressive to me.
Well, it kind of compares with, if you think about the Sleep Number bed, right, where it's very customizable.
Yes.
And so think of that, but a lot less money, right?
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Well, I think that's a wrap. It's a summary pretty much of what we learned. But, I hope that some of you maybe learned something about some industries that maybe you hadn't thought about in the franchise world.
Well, hopefully we piqued your interest enough to reach out to us. Please reach out if you have any questions. You can find Sarah and I. We're very active on LinkedIn. So you can find Sarah with no H, Waskow, Waskow. I'm Roxanne Rapske, Rapske. You can also find us on frannet.com and on our YouTube channel at Frannet of Dallas, Fort Worth, and Oklahoma. Also, this podcast, Unpredicted Entrepreneur, is on all of the podcasting platforms. We appreciate you for joining us and listening in. Thank you.
Bye.